Howdy ho, neighbor. Howdy ho. You know where that's from? Anyway, I got a new picture up. This one is like a mixture between steampunk and cyberpunk and dystopian vibes. So, I'm all over the place today. But, it looks pretty cool. So I'm getting ready for July, August, September, 3 months. I'm going to be out of the country. I just renewed my passport a couple months ago. It was like $200 or something. I think it was a little bit more. But it's good for 10 more years, so that's good. And, well, I'll be in Bangkok for 2 of those months and visiting my wife for the other month. My wife. And, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get 2 or 3 fights this time. The gym I was at before was, I think the main problem was, the manager wasn't a fighter. So he was kind of like, he didn't really know how to manage. He didn't know how to set up, like, he would, I don't know, he would send us to, like, this place. Every time I went there, he would send us to this place in Pattaya to fight, and it was a long trip for one. And it just wasn't, it wasn't ideal. I hate traveling before I fight, honestly. And we were literally traveling for like 3 hours, and the vibe of the gym just was off. If you weren't Thai, if you weren't like a, pro fighter, the vibe was off. A guy like me who just fights for, still trying to get my experience, still trying to get comfortable in the ring. I need a gym like that. And it just wasn't right for me. So I'm finally at a gym that I feel the vibe is right, and I don't have to travel all the way to Pattaya to fight every time I have a fight. It's literally right in Bangkok. It's right outside of Bangkok. And it's not. The other places is like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. it's more of an entertainment kind of thing. They just kind of throw you in there, and they don't really match you up the right way. My first fight, my first fight for the prior gym, I was fighting a guy who had like 30 fights. And right now I only have 5 fights. So it's not really fair to put somebody with 5 fights up against some guy with 30 fights, you know? It's not a good experience. So I don't think the guy who was managing that gym really cared because he wasn't a fighter. He was just like, oh, whatever. Like, we'll get you somebody, you know. They didn't really pay much attention to who they were pairing you with. So the new gym I'm training at is not only a fraction of the price that I was paying, but they're actually putting me against people that are like more my level, which, I think that's better for getting comfortable inside the ring instead of just putting you against killers every time, because you're going against somebody who has like 30 fights and you only have less than 10. It's like you're not gonna feel confident. You're gonna be like scared, you know. It doesn't really give you a chance to test stuff out. You're just like, you're gonna be more tense when you fight, and you gotta learn how to be comfortable in the cage or the ring. If you want to progress as a fighter, you can't just keep being thrown to the wolves. So how do you do that? You gotta fight people that are like around your level. That way you can use your tools and see what you're good at. But it's cool because I kind of like, I have this, I've built this network in Bangkok of, if I ever want to start teaching and training people, whenever that might be, if I ever decide to even go down that path, I have a pretty strong support network that I could start a gym here. I already got connections, I guess, for the US. Like I have good connections with a couple promoters. One of the promoters is actually having people fight in Madison Square Garden, so I could kind of, if I ever start a gym, I could build people up and start handing them off to those guys. And on top of that, I could take them to Thailand and start handing them off to places where they'll actually get better and won't be like killing themselves. So I don't know, it's kind of cool, and all I was really doing is just following my passion this whole time. But if I really wanted to make a business out of it, I have pretty solid foundation. But I don't know if I ever want to go down that path. Maybe when I get older, maybe 10 years down the road. But right now, I just want to go down the path of become the best fighter I can be. And, if I get 3 fights in the next 5 years, 3 fights a year, that's like 15 fights. So, I'm not even 40 yet. 5 years, I could get 15 fights. and I already have 5 fights, so that would be 20 fights total. And then I could do like another year, and by the time I'm 45, I could have around like 23 fights. 20 to 23. I mean, it's not always guaranteed that you're going to get 3 fights every year, because sometimes you get injured when you fight, you know. But I mean, that would be nice to have over 20 fights by the time I'm 45. And then, like, if I really, you know, if I take really good care of myself, I mean, I might be able to fight until like 47, 48. And who knows, I could make it to 30 fights. 30 fights would be a nice round number, I think. But I don't know. Some of these Thai guys, I've known a couple of Thai guys with over 400 fights. They've been fighting since they were like 4 years old. I mean, I guess when you're a kid, it doesn't really, you're not hitting each other as hard. So, I mean, they still kick and hit each other pretty hard, but you're not taking the same amount of damage as you do when you're an adult. So I think if they are when they get to 400 fights, they probably do like maybe 190 until they get to like, you know, a mature age. And then they're just fighting like, you know, full-grown adults, strong adults for like 300 fights after that. And that is like, that's pretty insane if you think about it. And Muay Thai is like people think, you know, oh, MMA's hard. MMA is hard, you know, I respect MMA, but MMA, you have the opportunity to take it to the ground, you know, and yeah, you can break your arms and stuff, like, you know, doing that if you're like not careful, but Muay Thai is like basically MMA but standing. It's just the standing part of MMA. So you got elbows, knees. So imagine doing like in a lot of Muay Thai fights in Thailand are 5 rounds. So you're actually fighting even, not only are you standing, and when you stand is when you probably absorb the most damage in a fight, in case you're wondering. So not only are you standing for 2 rounds longer than an MMA fight, you're to do that for fighting grown men for 300 fights, that's just, you gotta be tough as nails. Like, it's an insane amount of toughness. And I'll be lucky if I make it to 30 fights, and some of these Thais got like 400 fights. It just blows my mind. Granted, a lot of them are, you know, like 120, 130, 135 pounds. But, I mean, I fought at 145. And, I mean, you can fight some pretty strong guys. There are some smaller guys that are still pretty strong and hit pretty hard, so. But I'm not gonna lie, 145, I wasn't feeling punches like I did when I was fighting 160 or 155, so. But a lot of these guys are the ones that are fighting 155. there's guys 155 that have like 300 fights too. I've been a few, so that's pretty tough. Like one of the guys who has like over 300 fights, Taiwan Chai. I used to train similar gym. I mean, same gym as him, and if you look him up, he's like a superstar right now. But at least in Thailand. But he has like 300 fights, and he's been, his body's been kind of breaking down lately. If you watched any of his latest fights, like he got knocked out 2 fights back, and he actually broke his leg the last fight, and yeah, so once you start getting above like 140s, 155, and above that, 300 fights puts a lot of wear and tear on your body. So, and also they train insanely hard. Thais train insanely hard. Like, I remember I saw this one guy who was like circuit fighter in Bangkok, fought on TV and Channel 7, and this guy was running like 10 miles as a warm-up every day, and just too much. Like it was to the point where his he was bow-legged. His calves were like bending in, and I mean it was just, he was just training way too much. But I don't know, a lot of these trainers, you know, they don't have like, you know, personal training certifications. They didn't go to college for physical therapy or, you know, sports science, you know, any of that. So they just they learn from their trainers. It's kind of word of mouth, basically, like how people used to learn back before we had a written language that you could write down. It's kind of like how people used to pass down traditions and stuff. So they kind of do that. And they've been doing this for, I don't even know how long Muay Thai has been around. I think it's been around, like, the actual sport has been around, like, maybe around 100 years. Before, it was a martial arts that they used in battles when they were going to war with neighboring countries and tribes, before they had, like, you know, modern warfare. So yeah, it's basically been taught from trainer to trainer, or crew to crew. That's what they call the trainers. Or Ajarn to Ajarn. That's what they call, like, the master crews. And yeah, their whole mentality is to build strength through mental toughness, through just iron sharpens iron. And yeah, you can do that. I mean, you can do that a little bit when you are younger, but once you start getting to my age, or even 30, it's like, you gotta start training smart. Otherwise, you'll end up like Taiwan Chai and breaking your leg. Because your body just gets weak if you train too much. There's no other way to put it. yeah, your mind might get stronger. You might become more resilient. You might have a higher pain tolerance. But your muscles and your bones need time to rest, you know? And the older you get, the more time they need to rest. I don't know, I think I was reading something about how much faster you heal when your muscles heal when you're like in your 20s compared to when you're over 30. And it's like 4 times faster, so you can't train like you do when you're in your 20s. I mean, when you're like 35, that's just, it's not realistic. But I mean, there are few and far between. I mean, like a small percentage of people that just have ridiculous genetics that can fight until they're like, you know, really old. Like I heard of a few Muay Thai fighters from back in the day, that like the 60s and 70s, that fought until their 50s. But not everybody is like that. Not everybody is that gifted. But there definitely were some interesting people that did accomplish that. I've learned about just being a fan of Muay Thai, but it definitely isn't me. So I like to train smart. Like, I'm not gonna jump in, like, especially, I mean, even if I'm beating a guy, I'm not gonna jump in and get in range and take chances that, you know, might get me knocked out. I'm always gonna keep my range as much as I can and just play it safe, because I'm not trying to get any more injuries. You know, I already have a few injuries and I'm not trying to get them worse. I'm trying to fight smart, you know? I'm trying to become a more intelligent fighter, not just go all in and, you know, risk getting knocked out. Because every time I've done that, I mean, it worked against me. So when I try to play it smart, it seems like I have a lot more luck. So that's my game plan, and I'm going to stick to it. Anyway, we're at like 23 minutes now, so I think I'm going to head out. Thanks for watching this. I'll talk to you guys later.